Once again, a pleasant morning to everyone. Our topic for this webinar is about the tips on recording video lesson. I know that making video lesson will be a bit helpful in this new normal situation in our education system. This may sound new to some of you, but making video lesson is just a piece of cake. It is just like recording your classroom discussion, and without further ado, I will now start my presentation. First, let me share with you the objectives for this webinar. So we have 5. First, understand the advantages of making video lesson. Second, know the different materials needed in making video lesson. Third, recognize how chroma keying works. Next, utilize green screen effectively. And lastly, make an effective PowerPoint presentation. This will be the outline of my presentation. I divided my presentation into 4 parts. First, we're going to talk about the good things of having a video lesson. Second, we'll talk about the materials needed in making video lesson, and I am sure that you all have these materials at home. Next, I will be sharing some tips on utilizing green screen, and lastly, I will be discussing the steps on how I make my own video lesson without the use of a green screen. Okay, let us now have the first part of our discussion for today. Why do we need to make video lesson? So this may be the first question in your mind right now. Maybe some of you are raising your eyebrow regarding this idea. Pwedeng naiisip nyo na dagdag trabaho lang ito sa atin. Bakit kailangan pang gumawa ng video lesson? Pwede naman nagawin ko yung discussion live in front of the camera. Also, there is no memo or there is no DepEd memo saying that we should really need to make video lesson. But come to think of these advantages. First advantage is that if you have your video lesson, you don't need to repeat your discussion to all your classes. Of course, if that is a recorded video, you will just do it once or you will just say it once. Let's say, for example, that you have 6 classes. You just need to play that video lesson for every section that you handle. And it will also allow you to just rest during the discussion part. So, maipapahinga po natin yung ating mga lalamunan, and at the same time, the students and parents can replay that, can rewatch the video. Di ba po sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, hindi naman natin personally makikita ang mga students po natin. Ang kanilang parent or guardian po yung isa sa mga tutulong sa ating mga mag-aaral para gabayan sila sa bawat lesson. So, if we prepared a video lesson, the parents can also watch that, and kilala naman po natin yung ibang parents, pwedeng marami po silang itatanong about the discussion. Pero kung meron po tayong video lesson ng ating discussion or ng ating lesson, pati sila ay maaari nilang panoorin yun at maaaring mabawasan po yung mga itatanong nila sa atin regarding the lesson. Second advantage is that you can monitor your students during class discussion. Sa panahon natin ngayon, alam naman po natin that the class discussion will be done online. Imagine if you have 46 students per class. How sure are we that they are listening to our discussion? Yung 46 students po na yun, hindi naman lahat po sila ay kakasya sa screen natin, especially if we're just using our smartphone. Di ba po, kapag cellphone po yung gamit, 4 na tao lang yung nakikita natin sa screen. And then the rest ay nasa next pages. So, paano tayo makakasiguro kung nakatutok yung mga mag-aaral natin sa ating discussion? Dito na po ngayon makakatulong ng malaki si video lesson. Just like what I said earlier, we are just going to play the video on the discussion part. Tayo naman pong teachers, relax lang muna. And then we can scroll the screen to check if our students are really looking at the screen and listening to the discussion. Another reminder po, do not let our students to put off their video during discussion. Kasi po, hindi natin mamomonitor kung ano ang ginagawa nila on the other side of the screen. third advantage is that it can save us from internet connection problems. I know that we are all aware on the status of internet connection in our country. There are times na malakas, mostly kapag madaling araw po, malakas yung internet. And then there are also times na slowing. Or should I say, most of the times it is slowing. So, biro lang po. Pero talagang mabagal po talaga yung internet connection natin sa Pilipinas. And then, since online discussion nga po tayo, paano kung si teacher ang may problema sa internet? Ibig sabihin po ba nun hindi na tayo makakapag-discuss dun sa scheduled time na nakaalat para sa atin? So kapag ganun po yung nangyari and we prepared a video or we have a video, kung mahina po talaga yung net or yung internet natin for that period of time, pwedeng isend mo na lang po sa kanila yung link, tapos papanoorin na lang po muna nila yung discussion. And by the time na maayos na po ulit yung signal, doon na lang po tayo ulit mag-online para i-meet natin yung mga students natin for further questioning. So, para malaman po natin kung anong part pa ng lesson yung nahihirapan sila. It is also better if we can upload the video ahead of time. We can upload that in the Facebook group of our class, or you can have it uploaded in YouTube. So, just in case that there are untoward incident or merong problema na nangyari, like for example, nagloko si Smart, nagloko si PLDT, si Globe, at kahit pa si Converge, we still have a backup plan. So, banggitin ko lang din po yung napanood ko sa DepEd Live regarding OBS or Open Broadcaster Software. Dito parang maglalaan po ang DepEd ng isang site na maglalaman ng mga link ng video lesson base sa MELCs or most essential learning competencies na pwede nating magamit on distance learning. Lastly, it may help us to have a well-planned and well-organized discussion. So that's it. Yun na po yun. No need to elaborate it more. It's because if we have a recorded video lesson, we can have a well-planned and well-organized discussion. Next, we're going to proceed on the second part of this discussion. What are the materials needed in making video lesson? So in making our video lesson, we need the following. Of course, we need a camera. We can use our smartphone, just like what I'm using right now, or if you have a DSLR camera, much better. Next thing that we need is a tripod or a camera holder. So if you don't have one, you can ask anyone from your family to just hold the camera for you. Siguraduhin lang po natin na hindi sila pasmado para hindi maging magalaw yung video na gagawin natin. Kidding aside, I know that we are aiming for a good quality of video lesson that we will be sharing to our students, and having a tripod will help. The third one is lighting equipment. So it can be a ring light, the light coming from your windows, or just the light on your ceiling. Kagaya po sa mga video lesson na ina-upload ko sa YouTube, ilaw lang po sa bahay yung aking gamit. And if you are planning to buy a ring light, meron naman pong mga mura, just like po yung binili ni Ma'am Carissa sa Lazada. Parang nasa 250 pesos lang po. So the fourth one is a green cloth. So if you don't have a green cloth at home, you can use green cartolina just like the one that I set up in my room. Pero ito po yung mas maganda. Kung ang pintura po ng ang ating wall ay green, that will work. Hindi na po natin kailangan pang bumili ng green cloth or ng green cartolina. Bakit po kailangan natin ng green cloth? So using this one is just optional. We can make a video lesson even without a green cloth, but I believe that this one is widely used by teachers nowadays. Later on in our discussion, I will show to you how this material can help us in making a more beautiful and engaging video lesson. Napansin ko rin po nung nagsimula tayong mag-webinar, marami na rin po sa atin yung gumagamit ng green screen. Next is visual aid or a PowerPoint presentation. So mamaya po ay pag-uusapan rin natin yung ilan sa mga pinakamahalagang paalala sa paggawa ng PowerPoint presentation. And lastly, we need our computer. Iyon po. These are the materials that we need in making video lesson. Alam ko naman po na meron na tayong lahat ng iyan except for the ring light and green screen. Pero optional lang naman po yung dalawa na yan, just like what I said earlier. We can still make a video lesson even without the ring light and the green cloth or the green screen. Okay, we are now down to the third part of our discussion. So this is about utilizing green screen in making video lesson. For this part, we will be talking about the following. First, we will have a brief explanation about chroma keying. Actually, chroma keying is the process. Green screen is the main material that we need. Second, why green is the preferred color. Third, I will be sharing some lighting tips. And then lastly, we'll have some important reminders in using green screen. So we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts in using it. What is chroma keying? Keying is the process of isolating a single color or value in an electronic image and using a software to make that value transparent, allowing another image to show through the affected areas. So that is basically the process of chroma keying. How chroma keying works. So with the use of editing software, we can remove the background in our picture or the background in our video. So this means that the background will now be transparent and this allows another image to show through. Or sa madaling salita, mapapalitan po yung background natin sa picture or yung background po natin sa video. Kung napanood po natin yung simulation video ni Sir Noe sa Valenzuela Live, so that was made using green screen. So dito po, yung mismong PowerPoint presentation niya, yung naging background niya sa video. And yun, kagaya rin po ng infomercial na ginawa ni Ma'am Sara and Sir Joffer, kinunan din po iyon gamit ang green screen. So hello po Ma'am Sara and Sir Joffer. Kumuha po ako ng screenshot ng infomercial na ginawa nyo. Maraming salamat po. Let us now have example. I took a photo with the green screen on the background and then I have here another image. As you can see, there is a teacher on the picture. I have here a short video clip. I will show you how I will make this one to be in the background of my picture. I think it's only about 45 seconds. So let us now watch this short video clip. There you go. I now have a different background in this picture. Hindi ko na po i-discuss kung paano ko napalitan yung background because it will be part of Sir Brian's webinar tomorrow. He will discuss to us the whole process on how to change the background of the picture or the video using green screen and an editing software. Next one, let's talk about why green is the preferred color. Why not use other colors? First, it is because of contrast. Second, the screen being used must be different from or contrast with the subject being filmed. And then, third, dagdag ko lang po, the shade that is often used is bright green. Bright green, that was according to my research, pero alam ko po gumagana rin kahit ibang shade ng green yung gamitin natin for green screen. Why color green? So, in order to isolate one area from the rest, the background color must be distinctively different. Kaya po, green mostly yung ginagamit. Let's say for example, sa body features po natin, wala namang green. Wag lang po kulay green yung buhok natin or wag lang po green yung isusuot natin na damit. Bakit po? So, it is because when we apply the process, it will also be removed. Kasi 'di ba sabi po natin kanina, buburahin niya yung background na green. Since let's say for example, green yung buhok mo or green po yung damit na ginamit mo, so the editing software will also remove that. So mabubura din po 'yon. So ayaw naman po natin na magmukhang horror yung video lesson natin kasi may lumulutang na ulo, or your presentation or your video will just look like this one. Nabura po yung damit, tapos natira lang yung mga braso at yung ulo. At this point, let us now have the lighting tips when using green screen. So with proper lighting, we can have a better result. So hindi naman po natin kailangan ng mala Hollywood film yung setup ng ilaw. And for this part, I will just discuss the very basic thing that we need to put in mind when lighting the subject or when lighting our green screen. So first, we need to light the subject. In this case, we ourselves are the subject. Kailangan natin or kailangan na may sarili tayong ilaw or may maayos tayong ilaw. In my case, ang gamit ko lang po ay yung ilaw ko sa kwarto. But if you have a ring light, you can use that, or you can also use the natural light in your house. Pwedeng sa harap po kayo ng bintana mag-video. And then another important thing is that we need to make sure that there is a balanced lighting on your green screen. So kailangan na walang shadow, kailangan po na walang shadow yung screen natin kasi makakaapekto po ito kapag inedit na natin yung video. Para maiwasan po na mayroong shadow, pwedeng maglagay po tayo ng isa pang ilaw sa likod, o kaya naman ay medyo lumayo po tayo sa green screen para maiwasan yung pagkakaroon ng shadow. And kung lalayo man po tayo sa green screen, make sure na buo pa rin po yung nakakapture ng screen or ng camera natin, buo pa rin po yung green screen para hindi po tayo magka-problema kapag in-apply na natin yung process. Next, here are some important reminders when using green screen. So first reminder, your green screen must be smooth, clean, and wrinkle-free. So kinakailangan po na walang lukot or walang gusot yung screen para maging pantay yung light or yung liwanag ng screen natin. So kinakailangan rin po na walang dumi kasi kapag meron po, let's say may dark spot, pag in-apply po natin yung process, maiiwan yung dark spot na yun, hindi po siya mabubura, and it will be part of our video. Second reminder is to avoid wearing any green garment. So just like what I mentioned earlier, if we wear green shirt, it will also be removed. So sa video po natin, mawawalan tayo ng katawan just like what you see in this picture. At this point, we are now down to the last part of our discussion for this webinar. How do I make the video lessons for my YouTube channel? I'm gonna share with you the 2 steps on how I make video lesson. I do not use green screen. I'm just using my phone and my laptop. The first step is I make a PowerPoint presentation about the topic that I'm going to discuss. So sa setup po natin ngayon ay gamit na gamit ang PowerPoint presentation, and I have here some important reminders in making your PowerPoint presentation. First, use contrasting colors for the text and background. That is the first thing that we should put in mind. If we're using a dark background, the text should be in light colors and vice versa. So ang hirap naman po sigurong basahin kung dark na yung background, dark pa yung text. So we should observe that. Second, choose readable fonts. Always choose a readable font. In my case, I always use Berlin Sans FB. Kung ano po yung nakikita nyo sa screen, iyan po yun. And then third, avoid using too much design. For some, you will think that your PowerPoint will be nicer if you put too much design. Pero hindi po sa lahat ng pagkakataon ay ganoon. The simpler, the better. Especially yung paglalagay po ng gift or yung mga moving image na hindi naman related sa topic. For example, naglagay po tayo ng mga paru-parong lumilipad sa gilid ng bawat slide. Pwedeng sa unang tingin maganda po siya pero maaaring maging cause of distraction ito para sa mga mag-aaral. So instead po na mag-focus sila sa content, maaaring yung mga estudyante or yung ilan sa mga estudyante natin ay mag-focus na lang po dun sa mga lumilipad na paru-paro sa slides na ginawa po natin. Again, the simpler it is, the better. Next, do not overload your presentation with animations. So this is in connection to the previous one that I explained earlier. And then lastly, make on-screen text clear and concise. Clear and concise. This is the main reason why we make a PowerPoint presentation. It is to provide our students with the important points in our lesson. Only the important points. No need to put everything in our PowerPoint presentation na magmumukha na siyang isang kwento. Second and final step is to start filming. For this part, we have two options. Pwede pong makikita tayo sa video o kaya naman po ay wala po tayo sa video or yung boses lang po natin yung nandun. So, it will be a voice-over video presentation. Before filming, kindly observe or check the following. First, make sure that your phone has an ample storage memory. Second, of course, we need to film or to record in a quiet place. Next one, yung sa PowerPoint naman, paano natin siya i-record? Meron naman pong built-in screen recorder yung bawat laptop or yung bawat PC. You will just need to activate that before you start your presentation so that the screen will be recorded. Next, with the use of your phone, you will record your voice. So, it will be simultaneous. Sabay natin silang i-record. So, while doing the PowerPoint presentation, i-record din po natin yung ating sinasabi. And then, one more reminder po while we do the recording, iwasan po natin na nakatutok sa atin yung electric fan kapag ka nagre-record kasi magmumukhang binabagyo po yung ating audio. At this point, allow me to share with you the sample video lesson that I made. It will just be a clip from the video lesson that I published in my YouTube channel. I was born on 1995 or I was born in 1995. It gets cold at night or it gets cold in night. Do you get confused whether you're going to use in, on, at? Watch this video tutorial and I'm gonna help you learn that. Hello guys, I am back again with a new educational video, and if this is your first time here in my channel, I am making video tutorials of English grammar lessons. Going back to our topic, just like what I said in the beginning of this video, we're gonna talk about the correct usage of in, on, at. They are examples of prepositions of time. These three are the most common prepositions of time that we are using in our day-to-day speaking. And in our case, marami sa ating mga Pinoy ang napagbabaliktad at nagkakamali sa paggamit ng tatlo na iyan. Just like the sample statements that I mentioned a while ago, ano nga ba yung tama sa kanila? In, on, at. Let's find out. I'm gonna go now to my computer and let's get this started. Welcome to our lesson for today, Preposition of Time. We will only focus on these three most used prepositions of time, in, on, at. Do not be confused because these three are also used as preposition of place. I will also make a video tutorial of in, on, at used as preposition of place. And to get to know more about these three, in, on, at as preposition of time, let us now have the next slide. When we say preposition of time, it refers to a preposition that discusses a specific time period such as a date on the calendar, a day of the week, or the specific time that something takes place. In short, we use it in referring to time. There are other prepositions of time, but for this video tutorial, we're gonna talk about in, on, at. As you can see, I have here an inverted triangle. I divided it into three parts. For the first part, I put the preposition in. On the second portion, I put the preposition on. Lastly, I placed the preposition at the bottom. You can also notice that I have here the word general for in, more specific for on, and very specific for at. This means that we use the preposition in referring to general time frames like centuries, decades, years, months, seasons, and parts of the day. In the next slide, I will give examples for each of them. Next, we use the preposition on in more specific time frames. When we say more specific time frames, this includes days, dates, specific days, and at some point in talking about a day plus part of the day. We'll also have examples for this later on. Lastly, we use the preposition at to discuss clock times and other very specific time frames. So just remember, in is used for general time frames, on for more specific time frame, and then at for very specific time frame. Let us now have examples for each of this. In as preposition of time. Again, we use it for centuries, decades, years, seasons, months, parts of the day, and period of time. We're going to talk about first centuries. Centuries, it is composed of 100 years. For instance, we have 19th century, 20th century, 21st century, so on and so forth. For this one, we're going to use in. Let us have examples. Number one, we have the sentence, we are now in the 21st century. Number two, we have the sentence, the Great Depression was the largest and most severe economic depression in the 20th century. Again, if we have centuries or if we're going to use centuries, we will use the preposition in. Next, we will also use in for decades. Decades, this is composed of 10 years. 1950, 1960, 1970, 80, 90, so and so. Let us have example.